Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, the 28th of June, and I am Larry Nichols, believe it or not. Today, there was a hearing when you had Rosenstein and Wray, the head of the FBI, Rosenstein, the Assistant Attorney General, Wray being the head of the FBI. They were brought before a subcommittee, judiciary subcommittee in the House. Once again, we see an arrogance in Rosenstein, and you see it also in Wray, but Wray seems to take an approach that he says very little. And he's also got sort of a pass on this because he was appointed to the FBI after so much of this had happened. But Rosenstein, that old boy's right in the middle of it. Right in the middle. Then there were questions that really lit him up. Questions from, I think his name's Jim Jordan from Ohio. He wanted to ask Rosenstein if he had read this report. Now, I was not a part of the conference long enough to know if he was talking about the IG report or if he was talking about some other report. But think of this. He was asking Rosenstein, did you read the report? Rosenstein wouldn't answer. He said he had people with him that read it, staff, etc., but he kept saying, did you read the report? Rosenstein wouldn't answer. To this day, as far as I know, to this moment, he has not answered whether he read the report. Now, whether that report was significant or not, I don't know. But you have to ask yourself, what is it? What is it about this man that he believes he can stand before the constitutionally chartered oversight committee that has purview of his department, and he can sit there and not answer the question? Then Gordon made another point. This one gets me. He said, already, we talked about it here, but he said already there are 60 Democrats right now that are signed up, ready to impeach President Trump. But then he pointed out, they're ready to impeach him, but yet there has not even been a charge made against him. Nothing. So the question then becomes, well, what are they going to impeach him for if after over a year of Mueller with his investigation, with the FBI investigation that started before Trump was even took the office of the presidency, and after Trump's been in office for a year and a half thereabouts, and still there is nothing against him, but 60 members of the Democratic Party are ready, willing, and able right now to impeach him. Wow. Wow. What kind of world do we live in now? Then Trey Gowdy. Now, to say I'm disappointed in Trey Gowdy is an understatement. So many people had so much hope in Gowdy being the real thing. I warned that you better be careful that he was not everything you thought him to be. And then lo and behold, he comes out and reviews the records on the FISA court, and he comes out and says that the Justice Department, the FBI, that there was nothing wrong with the way they sought and got the FISA warrant, which is an absolute lie. Absolute lie. But here was Gowdy. It was his turn to get his 15 minutes of fame and to get his sound bite. But he did make some good points. Good points. He asked Rosenstein, what on earth's going on? I'm paraphrasing, so don't think I'm saying what he said exactly. But he wanted to know what was going on. Because they have been requesting and requesting documents, and they have inconsistently denied those documents. At one point, he made a very good statement. He said, as he remembered, the old saying being, that justice delayed is justice denied. Justice delayed is justice denied. Now, I wonder why years ago some founding father, some brilliant person, I wonder why they came up with that, other than the fact that usually justice delayed is justice denied. Point being that if you delay it, you delay it, you delay it, you know what happens? People forget about it. Something that right now would be very important and very critical. Let time pass. Let months go by. We'll forget about it. We'll forget about it. And it will not ever be adjudicated. Justice delayed is justice denied. And then when he was referring to all of these people that are out to impeach President Trump, albeit there is no case of a crime to impeach him over, he pointed out another thing that we've talked about here in earnest a lot, and that is that, golly gee, in America, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But in Trump's case, actually in anybody's case that's against what we would call the deep state, it's changed now. Now you are guilty until you prove yourself innocent. Folks, you can't win that way. You cannot disprove a negative. So if you say to me, you killed babies on the weekends, how can I prove I didn't? Now, I mean, they can say, well, it was done at X place at Y time. There's the possibility that I would have an alibi for that time. But it's a lot harder, you see, to prove you're innocent instead of them having to prove your guilt. It's not the way it's supposed to be. But that's the way we have it. Except, and here's the crux of it, except in the United States of America today, if you're friends with, partners with, buds with the cultural elite, at least they consider themselves the cultural elite, they have one standard law. And the law as it applies to the Hillarys, to the Comeys, to the Rosensteins, to everybody other than us that's in the elite group, I should say. The rule there is they're not guilty of anything. No matter what, they're not guilty of anything. Why? Well, because you can't charge him with anything. Why? Well, you can't charge him with anything because there's no body of government that can charge them, because they control all of the mechanisms in the bodies of government that would bring relative charges against them. So they're innocent. Oh, you let it be Donald Trump. Let it be him. And all of a sudden, the standard that you have to go through changes. And he's guilty. He's guilty of something. We know he's guilty of something. We do not know what he's guilty of. But he's guilty enough of something that we do not know what it is yet, or if it will ever be proven that there was anything he was guilty of, but we're going to impeach him anyway. Now, does anybody find that concept a little weird besides me? Now, I happen to have been a part of that. I have actually been a part of their side where you destroy people with that concept, and I've been on the receiving end of being destroyed by that concept. I know how vicious it is and how well it works. I told y'all, I believe it was yesterday, I may not have told all of you, but yesterday I told several, that when it came to Strzok's testimony, where he went into a closed hearing, guess what? He lied. He lied. And as a matter of fact, I told you that he was going to lie, and that what he was going to do with his lying is he was going to make up this incredible story that made the words that he's been caught saying, like "we'll stop him" and all of that stuff. I told you he would come up with some explanation of why he said those words, but that it didn't mean what you think it means. That it doesn't mean what it says it means. And you know what happened, folks? He did just that. Many of the participants in the inquiry were extremely disappointed and even pointed it out to him that he was lying. They didn't appreciate it, and they didn't believe it. But today, a day after that, Strzok is still employed by the FBI. Now, he's suspended, but he's suspended with pay. He's still a member of the FBI. Why? The why to that makes sense. Finally, something does make sense. The reason they have not summarily just fired the heck out of him is because if they do, then they cannot subpoena him in his testimony. Because remember what you've learned about Obama's people. Anybody that's not a part of the government today cannot be subpoenaed. Not in a congressional soiree or hearing. Now, if it moves to a criminal case to be adjudicated in a criminal court, then yes, all of those people can be subpoenaed and summoned to come and testify, yes. But if you're doing it through special counsel, if you're doing it through the government, you can't subpoena a person who's no longer with the government. So I wish all of you would remember that, and when people that you meet and want to talk to you or want to bring this stuff up, when they hit you with, gosh, I can't believe Sessions and them haven't fired Strzok, please tell them why. Please. Jeff Sessions is catching enough hell by people that think he's doing nothing, that we don't need this kind of stuff to pile on and add to it. Jeff Sessions is going to appoint a special counsel. And in the special counsel that he's going to appoint, they are going to set up a task force of sort to investigate what? They're going to investigate the Clinton Foundation and its connection to Uranium One. And as I am to understand, what I understand is that the FBI will not be used to do the base investigation work. And I'm glad for that, because the FBI is in on it, right? So why on earth would we have the FBI investigate the FBI and their participation in it? So it's up to Sessions to appoint a special prosecutor, and the special prosecutor to appoint his or her team to do this investigation. To my knowledge, they're going to try to make sure that no one working for the special prosecutor involved in solving this case has had anything to do with Washington, D.C. in at least the last 10 years. So hopefully we move totally out of Washington. Now, before you rest too easy, we still have certain problems. You've got to find a federal court that this special prosecutor, if they find things that need to be adjudicated, we have to find, or they have to find, a court that would be fair and would hear the case. And when you say a court that would be fair and hear the case, you have just about summarily dismissed the D.C. District Court, because anything that gets brought up in the D.C. District Court will be thrown right out. Right out the door. But he is forming, or he is planning to appoint a special counsel. And for once, we have a chance. Oh, I hope we have a chance. And I understand we've been here before. We have been here before, where something that we think we wanted to happen finally gets done. And then when it gets done and we're all excited and everything's going to come out the way we had hoped it would, we end up flat on our face because another person lied to us. So I'm cautious. But at least I think we have a chance with Sessions. We have a chance to get an investigation that will tell the truth. And as I have told y'all, and I'll leave you with this today, as I told you, everybody that's hearing my voice right now, most of you, I assume there are people, I guess, in other countries, but anybody that's in America that hears my voice now, you are quick to assume we still live in the United States of America. You still believe that we, as a form of government, we have a representative form of government, right? Not a democracy, a constitutional representative government. That's what we're supposed to be. Nothing has happened yet to change it, so that's what we're supposed to be. But if the Clinton Foundation and Uranium One are not investigated fairly and openly, and if things are found within that investigation to be illegal, if there is not a prosecution brought forward, And ladies and gentlemen, we do not live in the United States of America anymore. The country you think we are, we're not. There cannot be two forms of government or two forms of law. There can't be. There cannot be. You understand that? There can't be. We are a nation of laws, and the laws are to be applied equally to each and every one of us. So I ask you, those of you that hear me now, please come back, spread the word about our programs we have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night, our conference calls. Invite any and everybody you can. We've got a country to save, and not much time to do it. So with that, I leave you today. Good day.